Hi, everybody. Laura here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to create a couple projects with Kristina Werner's new holiday release that came out with Concord 9th at the beginning of September. I was pretty bummed when my package of products accidentally got shipped to my old address in Illinois, but luckily, my neighbor across the street in Illinois grabbed them and then sent them to me here in Minnesota. So I just finally got them the other day, and I was so glad when the products came back in stock because I know a lot of these sold out so fast. And I knew Kristina would knock it out of the park. No surprise that her designs are dynamite, but I couldn't wait to create a couple projects. So I thought now's the time. And I'm going to start with this Gentle Berries stem layering die set. I love the size. These are big, they're large and in charge. So there's two dies, and it's kind of like a big old Gentle Berry stem. One is like a solid, and then the other one is kind of an outline. So for the solid, I'm doing it on a white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill. And then this outline, I'm doing it out of matte gold. So we're making it fancy schmancy for the holidays. Okay, take that off camera, run it through my Anna Griffin Impress die cutting machine. And can I just tell you, quick note, these dies cut like butter. And lately, I don't know if you ever have trouble with die cutting. Sometimes intricate dies just don't cut. I always have a metal shim handy because I got to use one a lot. But these, I didn't put on a metal shim and they cut like butter. I don't know. I think these are just really good quality dies. I was starting to think maybe I need to get a new magnetic. Maybe I've worn down my plates. They've become thinner. I'm not sure. And then I switched to my platinum, the Spellbinders Platinum. Sometimes that'll work when I can't get one to work or whatever. Do you have trouble with die cutting? It can make you crazy. But just wanted to mention, these dies cut like butter. Okay, now for the berries. I'm going to do some of the berries out of poppy cardstock, some out of cranberry. Of course, I'm going to be using all Concord 9th solid color cardstock, which I am slowly becoming such a fan that I used to have a lot of paper tray ink cardstock, and I still do love it, but I have slowly migrated into the majority of my solid color cardstock now is Concord 9th. I have a little bit of Spellbinders. I have some Simon Says Stamp. I have a little bit of Hero Arts, but I would say the majority is Concord 9th because I really am drawn to their colors. They work so well together. Here for the leaves, I'm doing two different tones. I think this is Parsley and Evergreen. I think it's Evergreen. Sometimes I get Evergreen and Clover mixed up. That's another thing I want to do when I get organized. I always say that when I get organized, I'd like to label the cardstocks because there are so many colors. A lot of times I can't tell, is it Clover, is it Evergreen, is it Sorbet, is it Grapefruit? I don't know, but I need them labeled, especially the light pinks. I'm like, is that Ballet slipper? Is it whatever the other color is? There's some close light pinks. Okay, now for the cranberry berries. So I have some berries that are poppy, some berries that are cranberry. I wanted more contrast. I don't know. Call me crazy. I am. But so I took a little tape runner on some scratch printer paper that I've blended on. And I took out cranberry ink and a little blender brush. And I'm going over the cranberry die cut berries with cranberry ink. And my hopes was to make it more contrasty to the poppy. I just needed more. You know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes you just need more. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. Just blend a little bit. I think there's like about 6 cranberry berries. And I felt like that gave it the good contrast because you really want that. And I was really inspired by the back of the die cut packaging. It had the two-tone berries there. And I was like, I love that look. So now I'm using some Barely Arts glue on the back of the matte gold outline die cut. And I'm going to glue this to the white solid. Another thing you could do is stack up a few of the outline to make it more dimensional. You know why? Because dimension is life. But I gotta tell you, I don't know. I just go through seasons. I'm using less dimension. I still like dimension, but I'm kind of in a reining in the dimension season. So I don't know. doing some things flatter. I don't know if it's the rise in postage or what, but okay, so I'm trying to alternate the berries. So you can see there, the cranberry ones and the poppy ones. It gives you that variation, a little bit of interest. Again, using a little bit of Barely Art liquid glue, just a dot. You don't want too much or it'll lose out the sides and chap your khakis. Okay, gluing on the leaves. Again, I did the two tones. Some are Parsley, some are Evergreen. I think that's Evergreen. Could be Clover. Yeah, gotta label those cardstocks. And then the thing is, when I'm using cardstocks, I end up with a bunch of scraps. I have usually a whole drawer of scraps, and then I really don't know what colors I'm using. You know, I don't know what brand or color because it all gets mixed in a big old drawer. How in the world does one keep their scraps organized so you know the brand and the color? I mean, forget about it. Okay, star of the show here is really the embellishment wand, if you ask me. It's all about the tools at the end of the day. Okay, look at how divine that looks, just simple on a white card base. Now, for a sentiment, so many choices, but I decided to use this, what's it called? Peace, Love, Joy Frames Die. And I'm going to die cut the joy out of matte gold cardstock, and I'm only going to use the word. I'm not using the frame or the outline. Just wanted to keep it very, very simple, airy, and kind of tuck it right into the sway of that berry swag. See how it just like made a spot for it right there. But since it felt a little bit flat, so I went ahead and die cut two more out of white, stacking those up. I'll glue the two white ones together, put the matte gold on top of it, and that'll give it just a smidge of lift or dimension, and it kind of just flows a little bit better with that berry branch. It just kind of looks a little more even, a little more consistent, if you know what I mean. Now, I wanted to stamp a little sub-sentiment, which is from this Merry Greetings Builder Stamps. If you're looking for a good Christmas sentiment stamp set, this one has everything you need with Kristina's gorgeous handwriting. And I'm just stamping the little word sending with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. So it's going to say sending joy. Now I'm just gluing on the gentle berry branch, and then I'll glue on the joy. I'm not going to add any embellishments. I did have a thought about adding glossy accents to those berries. I think that would be cool. But I left them. I just kind of left them. I did, sometimes you got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. By the way, October 3rd, I've got a shipment being delivered from IKEA. I picked out a desk, picked out a couple calyx units, and I'm hoping it's going to revolutionize my life. Stay tuned, okay? Right now, you don't even want to know what kind of hurricane is going on in this craft room. Okay, we're moving on to card number 2. Oh my gosh, the Merry Trees Dies. And I pulled out some Falala pattern paper. Have you ever checked out Concord 9th pattern paper? I love it. So this is the Falala pattern paper. It's like a polka dot dark green. I would call this evergreen. And I die cut that Mary right into it. And you know what I'm going to do behind it? I'm going to strip it up. I don't know why that I have to constantly break out in jingles. I hope it doesn't annoy you because I couldn't stop it if I tried. But I'm so excited about getting organized. Last night, we had a little meet and greet in our little court here. We live like on a cul-de-sac. And so there were about 4 families. We didn't organize it. The neighbor across the street. Did I tell you I have a Barb on one side and a Barb on the other? I met the other neighbor. Her name's Angela, and her family and her children, which also play hockey, by the way. So very convenient. Hockey families unite. And we had root beer floats and a little meet and greet. And it was so nice. I got to tell you, the people here are so friendly. I don't know. Okay, I stripped it up. I didn't even talk about it. But I'll have all the colors that I use linked in the description box. It's all Concord 9th, and I just go with the spectrum. I think it's Ballet Slipper, Honeysuckle, Cranberry, Poppy, Sorbet, Grapefruit, Clementine. Can you believe I remembered those? I'm going to emboss this Mary in white right on top of these strips. Now, I wasn't sure if this would work because embossing on strips can get a little dicey. You know what I mean? It's hard to get the embossing in those crevices. So you have to ink it up a few times. I didn't show it, but I inked up about 3 times with that Versamark ink, pouring on some Simon Says Stamp white embossing powder. And you can see here, it's not like perfect, but I mean, when you're embossing on stripping it ups, you got to give a little grace and make sure your heat gun is piping hot. I've been liking to heat emboss on this white glass mat. I don't know why, but I find if I try to emboss on my black grid mat, it can get a little warped. So the glass mat I pull out, put some foam tape on the back of that polka dot pattern paper, popping up the Mary on top of the stripped up embossed background. And then I cut 2 strips here. This is Parsley and Sprout. And I'm just kind of layering those. I'm layering the pattern paper and it gives you that. Here's what it does. It gives you the gradation of greens, whereas the stripped up inside is kind of a gradation of warms and reds. So you've got the warms and reds on the inside, and then you got the greens on the outside, and it gives you the Christmas spirit. That's what I was going for. Don't forget, what are these called? Counters? The little innards of the R. I mean, you don't have to do it. You could leave them out. It's potato. Some people like them in, some people like them out. And then I'm going to emboss a little sub-sentiment, which is also from the Merry Trees stamp set. I'm embossing this on a strip of poppy cardstock. Going to use white embossing powder. I'm using Versamark ink. Always with the powder tool beforehand. And I just like to pour on. One of these days, maybe I'm going to get myself a big old tub of embossing powder. You know how the ones who got it together, they pour it on into a tub. But I've always been doing it on scratch paper, and then I funnel it back in, and I usually make an utter disaster. Does anybody else make a mess when they emboss? You'd think you'd get better at it. Every once in a while I make a clean emboss, and I feel like a queen of the world. But look at these cards. Merry and bright holiday wishes and sending joy. Oh, Kristina Werner, you killed it. Forget about it. I love them. Check them out at Concord 9th. They're also available at other stores. I hope they're back in stock. They are hot sellers, great for the holidays. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.